This is the story of a woman who traded 5 years of her life for one man dream, only to watch him throw her away the moment he touched success. Before we dive in, imagine this. For 5 long years, a wife works double shifts, skips vacations, and empties the last savings of her family, just so her husband can walk across a graduation stage in a black robe. She dreams of their new life together. On graduation night, instead of a kiss and a thank you, he pushes a thick envelope across the table and says she is no longer on his level. That was exactly what happened to Tiana Brooks. The auditorium of Southside College of Medicine in Atlanta shook with applause that morning. Proud families shouted names, phones flashed, and faculty smiled like they had single-handedly built every new doctor in the room. In the middle row, squeezed between loud aunts and nervous cousins, sat Tiana. Her hands were rough from work and smelled faintly of coffee and bleach. She hid them in her lap, fingers laced tight. Her heart pounded when she saw him. On the stage, in a flowing black gown and deep green hood, stood her husband, Malik Carter. His skin glowed under the bright lights, his white coat draped over his arm, his new degree clutched in his hand. Cameras turned toward him as the announcer read his name. Dr. Malik Andre Carter. Tiana felt her chest swell. 5 years. 5 years of getting up at 4 in the morning to open the coffee shop. 5 years of leaving one job, changing shoes on the bus, and hurrying to the evening shift at the hotel front desk. 5 years of counting coins to pay his lab fees, of skipping her own doctor appointments so he could buy another exam prep book. 5 years of hearing him say, "Just one more semester, babe. When I am a doctor, things will be different." She believed him. Beside her, Malik's mother, Denise Carter, dabbed her eyes dramatically with a monogrammed handkerchief. Her jewelry sparkled almost as brightly as the pride on her face. "My baby boy, a real doctor now," Denise announced to anyone who would listen. "Top of his class. I told everybody he was meant for greatness." She did not glance at Tiana. Denise had never liked the quiet girl from the West End, who came from a family of bus drivers and hair braiders. In Denise's mind, her son deserved a lawyer, a surgeon, a senator daughter, not some ordinary girl who worked behind a counter and wore clearance rack dresses. Tiana had heard it all before. Too plain, too average, too small for Malik. But Tiana never cared much about Denise's opinion. Malik love was enough. That was what she told herself every night she fell asleep at the kitchen table with unpaid bills spread under her cheek and Malik notes open in front of her, highlighted and neat because she had helped him review. The ceremony ended. Graduates threw their caps. Families rushed forward, shouting, laughing, wrapping their arms around the new doctors. Tiana held Malik's white coat, clutched close to her chest like something sacred. He finally broke through the crowd toward them. Denise reached him first. "My doctor!" Denise squealed, grabbing his face and kissing his cheeks loudly. "I told you from the first day you held a toy stethoscope, you were not meant to be regular." "You were right, Ma," Malik replied, his smile wide and charming. He hugged her for a long time while the cameras flashed. Tiana stepped forward, trying to ignore the little sting that he had not looked at her yet. "Congratulations, baby," she said softly, lifting the white coat toward him. "I am so proud of you." He hugged her then, but it felt quick, formal, like the way he hugged distant cousins. "Yeah. Thank you, T," he said. His eyes slid past her to the group of classmates waving him over. "Listen, we have dinner reservations tonight. Uptown on Peachtree. Very exclusive spot. You and Ma are coming, of course. We can celebrate properly there." Tiana nodded. "Of course. Whatever you want." He was probably just overwhelmed, she reasoned. The day was big, the moment heavy. She swallowed the small ache rising in her throat. That night, the restaurant glittered with glass, chrome, and money. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Atlanta skyline, all neon and possibility. Waiters floated between tables in crisp black uniforms. Tiana had borrowed a simple black dress from her friend Jada because she had nothing fancy enough for a place like this. The dress fit snug at her waist, but her shoes pinched. She smoothed the fabric over her hips and glanced around, feeling very aware of her $90 wig and drugstore lipstick. Malik looked like he belonged. He wore a tailored navy blazer, a designer watch that Tiana had never seen before, and a smile that said the world belonged to him now. He sat relaxed, one arm slung over the back of his chair, chatting easily about fellowships and residencies. Denise sat on his other side in a cream suit that matched the tablecloths. She scrolled on her phone, posting photos of Malik in his cap and gown, with captions like, "Blessed and Dr. Sun Life." "Honey," Tiana began, leaning in with a small smile. "All our hard work is finally paying off. Now we can breathe a little. Maybe start thinking about our own place, like we talked about." Denise snorted softly and did not look up from her screen. "Our hard work," she repeated under her breath. "Malik did the studying. Malik passed those exams. Medical school is no joke. Not everybody is built for that life." Tiana's cheeks warmed, but she said nothing. She looked at Malik, waiting for him to acknowledge the years she had carried both of them. He just kept studying the wine menu. After the waiter poured water and walked away, Malik cleared his throat. The playful tone he had used all evening faded. His eyes settled on Tiana, but there was no warmth in them, only something distant, something cold. "Tiana," he said quietly, "I need to talk to you about something important." Her heart fluttered nervously. Important could mean many things. Maybe he wanted to surprise her with news about a residency in another city. Maybe he wanted to tell her he had already found them an apartment closer to the hospital. "Yes, Malik," she answered, forcing a smile. "What is it?" He reached into a sleek leather portfolio at his side and pulled out a brown envelope. Thick, official-looking, with a law firm logo in the corner. He placed it directly in front of her on the white tablecloth. Denise folded her hands and leaned back with a tiny, satisfied smirk. Tiana frowned. "What is this A contract for your first job?" "Offer letter." "Open it," Malik said. His voice had lost all warmth. It was flat, clipped, like he was delivering bad news to a patient. Tiana's fingers shook slightly as she slid the papers out. The first sentence hit her like ice water. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Her vision blurred. The words refused to make sense. The chatter around them, the clinking of silverware, the soft jazz drifting through the restaurant, all faded into a muffled hum. She looked up slowly. "Malik," she whispered, "this has to be some kind of joke. This is your graduation night." "I am serious, Tiana," he replied. His jaw tightened. "We are not right for each other anymore." "What did I do wrong?" Her voice cracked on the last word. "For 5 years I have worked, I have supported, I have—" "Exactly," he cut in. "For 5 years you worked in small jobs. For 5 years you were stuck. I am a doctor now. My life is about to change in a major way. I need a partner who can walk into any room with me. Someone who understands this level. Someone who looks the part." His eyes slid down her borrowed dress, the roughness of her hands, the tired lines on her face. "Tiana, you are a good woman," he continued, "but you are ordinary. We are not on the same level anymore. I am ashamed when I think about bringing you to certain events." The sentence sliced straight through her. "We are not on the same level. I am ashamed." Denise finally looked up fully and smiled, a little too wide. "You heard my son," she said sweetly. "Malik has a reputation to build now. You would only hold him back, baby girl. Think of all the years you helped as charity. You did a good thing. Now let him go." Charity. The word landed in Tiana's chest like a stone dropped into deep water. For a moment, she could not breathe. Her hands crumpled the edge of the envelope. They expected tears. They expected begging. They expected her to collapse under the weight of humiliation. Instead, something inside her shifted. The raw pain did not disappear, but it hardened. It cooled. It settled into something sharp and steady. Tiana straightened in her chair. She wiped the few tears that had fallen with the back of her hand. When her face lifted again, it was different. "Enough," she said. Her voice no longer shook. It rang clear across the table, calm and final. Both Malik and Denise blinked, surprised by the strength in that single word. "Enough," Tiana repeated, now looking directly into Denise's eyes. "You told me to know my place. You called my 5 years of sacrifice charity. You called me a burden." A short, humorless laugh left her throat. It sounded nothing like the soft chuckle Malik used to love. "Did you both truly believe I would let you humiliate me forever?" She turned to Malik. When she spoke his name again, it no longer sounded like a lover calling a partner. It sounded like a stranger evaluating a case. "And you, Dr. Carter?" The way she said doctor was almost a knife. "You say you have a degree now. You say this success belongs to you alone. You are very wrong." Malik shifted in his seat. For the first time that night, uncertainty flickered across his face. Tiana pushed her chair back and rose slowly. The linen napkin fell from her lap to the floor without a sound. "That degree," she said, pointing at the embossed folder near his elbow, "is as much mine as it is yours. Every credit hour on that transcript is stamped with my overtime shifts. Every textbook was paid with my canceled plans. Every midnight snack before your exams came from a fridge I kept full." She leaned forward slightly, eyes burning but dry. "You did not fund this life, Malik. You borrowed it from me." Around them, a few diners had gone quiet. People tried not to stare, but eyes lingered over wine glasses and menus. Tiana felt the last trace of the old version of herself peel away. The version that always swallowed hurt and smiled anyway. In its place stood someone new. Someone who still ached, but also understood her own value. "You say we are not on the same level," she continued softly. "On that, at least, we finally agree." She reached into her small purse and pulled out her phone. Her thumb moved with purpose over the screen. Malik frowned. "What are you doing?" "Who are you calling my attorney?" Tiana answered. Her tone was ice. "Mr. Langford has been waiting for your little surprise." The shock on Malik's face was the first satisfying thing she had felt all night. "And that," she thought, as the line began to ring, "is the last time you will see me as ordinary." Tiana held the phone to her ear, while Malik and Denise stared at her as if the floor had tilted. The line clicked. "Good evening, Miss Brooks," a calm male voice said. "This is Attorney Lionel Langford." "Hello, counselor," Tiana replied. Her voice was steady now. "Malik did exactly what you predicted. I have the petition in my hand." There was the faint rustle of paper on the other end. "So he served you at a celebration event," Attorney Langford said. "Graduation, yes. Graduation dinner," Tiana answered. "Expensive place, good lighting, perfect for humiliation." Malik finally snapped out of his shock. "Hold up, Tiana," he said, leaning forward. "What is this? You have a lawyer for what we already filed first." Tiana did not even look at him. She spoke into the phone. "Please proceed with everything we prepared, counselor. All of it. The counterfiling, the documentation, the damage claim estimate for 5 years of full financial support. Use the documents I dropped off last week." Denise gasped. "Last week? You met with a lawyer last week?" Tiana finally turned her eyes toward her. "Did you think I could not see the strange messages on Malik's phone? The late nights that did not match his schedule? The new watch that appeared when I had just paid his last tuition bill?" Her fingers tightened on the envelope. "I am done being blind," Attorney Langford continued, his tone professional and cool. "Understood, Miss Brooks. I will file your petition in the morning. Based on the evidence, we will request recognition of your financial contribution to Mr. Carter's medical degree and a full accounting of his current assets and projected income. We will also request that he cover legal fees." "Thank you," Tiana said. She ended the call and slid the phone back into her purse with care, as if this moment were fragile glass. Her heart still hurt, but the pain had a direction now. Malik stared at her as if he had never seen her before. "So this is about money," he said slowly. You want a piece of my future earnings? That is what this is. Tiana laughed softly. It was not a kind sound. Money is part of it, yes. But more than that, Malik Carter, this is about math. You threw 5 years of ledger sheets in my face and called them charity. I am simply balancing the numbers. Denise shot up from her chair, napkin falling to the floor. You ungrateful girl, she hissed. My son offered you freedom. You should feel honored that he did not string you along. You want to drag his name through court now. You want to stain his record before he even starts. Tiana tilted her head, studying Denise as if examining a specimen on a slide. You want to talk about honor, Miss Carter? You sat beside me for 5 years while I paid for your son dream. You watched me work myself to exhaustion. You knew exactly how much went out of my account every semester. You never once told him to slow down or to treat me better. You just cheered when the money cleared. Denise opened her mouth, then closed it. For a brief second, her eyes showed something like guilt. Then pride swallowed it. You still have nothing, Denise said. Your name is not on his degree. Your name is not on this reservation. You leave with the same thing you brought into this family. Nothing. Tiana picked up the divorce papers from the table and folded them neatly. She did not tear them. She slid them into her purse beside her phone. You are wrong about that, she said quietly. I leave with a record of every transfer I ever made, every tuition payment, every rent receipt, every bill. I leave with bank statements and email chains. I leave with proof. She lifted her chin. And I leave with my name, which will not be attached to a man who believes that kindness is charity, and that he floats above the people who carry him. Malik slammed his palm on the table, making the water glasses jump. Enough. Sit down, Tiana. Stop making a scene. If you sign these papers, we can handle this quietly. I already told you we have no assets. You put all your money into my degree. There is nothing to divide. Tiana stared at him for a long moment. Then she smiled, small and sharp. You really believe that, she murmured. You truly believe there is nothing here that belongs to me. She checked the time on her phone. Earlier today, I almost bought a new dress for this dinner, she said. Instead, I paid the retainer for Attorney Langford. Best decision I made all year. She lifted her bag from the chair. I will not sign your petition, Malik, but I will divorce you, on my terms, and I will make very sure that the court sees exactly how you funded that white coat. With that, she turned toward the entrance and walked away from the table. Her legs felt like heavy wood, but each step grew lighter. The waiters parted for her. Diners pretended not to stare. Malik called her name once, twice, but she did not turn around. By the time the cool night air hit her face outside the restaurant, the worst of the tremor in her hands had faded. Her heart still thudded against her ribs, but there was something else inside her now. Space. She took out her phone again and dialed a different number from memory. Jada picked up on the second ring, voice groggy. T. It is late. Where are you? Did the dinner go well? He served me with divorce papers, Tiana said. Right at the table. Silence. Then a slow, dangerous exhale. I swear, if I ever see that man again, Jada muttered. You all right? Where are you? Do you need me to pull up? I am outside the restaurant, Tiana answered. I am fine. I already called the lawyer. Everything is in motion. You already have a lawyer. Jada's voice softened. You had a plan. Look at you. Tiana leaned against a brick column and let her head rest there for a moment. I had a feeling, she admitted. 6 months of secrets and new cologne. I just needed proof. Tonight he handed it to me in a fancy envelope. Come to my place, Jada said. I will make tea. You can throw your ring in my sink or something dramatic like that. Tiana looked down at her left hand. The thin gold band caught the city light. It had once meant forever. Now it felt like a small metal joke. I will be there in 20 minutes, she said. She slipped the ring off and dropped it into her purse. Not as a keepsake, not as a symbol, but as evidence. That night, in Jada's small but warm apartment, Tiana finally allowed herself to cry. Not the loud, desperate sobs Malik and Denise had expected. These tears were quieter. They slid down her face and soaked into Jada's oversized sweatshirt, which Tiana had borrowed and buried her face in. Jada listened to everything: the restaurant, the words, the envelope, the call to Attorney Langford. "That woman said all your work was charity," Jada said, outraged. "Charity for who? For the man who ate your last cup of noodles and then called you ordinary." Tiana wiped her face and sat up straighter. "I do not want to fight over his future paychecks," she said slowly. "I do not want to chase him forever. I want a clean cut. But I also want recognition. Legal recognition of what I did." "So what is the plan?" Jada asked. "Mediation first," Tiana replied. "Then court if he refuses to settle. Attorney Langford thinks we can build a strong claim based on material support and misrepresentation." Jada blinked. "Listen to you," she said. "You sound like you already took half a law school course." Tiana let out a weak laugh. "Maybe I paid for enough of them," she said. "Some of it soaked in through proximity." They both laughed at that, the first real laughter of the night. Later, after Jada fell asleep on the couch, Tiana lay awake on the air mattress, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in years, there was no shift alarm set on her phone, no list of Malik deadlines taped to the fridge. The future was a blank page that terrified her. It also called to her in a small, stubborn voice. "You are not done," that voice said. "You are just done being used." By the time dawn light edged through Jada curtains, Tiana had made another quiet decision. The divorce would not be the only thing she reclaimed. She would reclaim her dreams too. Morning sunlight crawled across Jada's living room floor, warming Tiana's face as she sat at the small dining table, hands wrapped around a chipped mug of tea. She had not slept much, but she felt sharper than she had in months. There was a strange calmness inside her, not because the pain was gone, but because the direction of it was finally clear. Her phone buzzed. A text from Attorney Langford. "Draft complete, ready for signatures. He will receive formal notice today." Today. Tiana let the weight of that settle. The entire balance of her marriage, her sacrifices, her stolen years would now be laid bare under legal light. And Malik Carter, Dr. Malik Carter, would finally be forced to look at the truth he had pretended not to see. Jada padded out of the bedroom, hair a wild halo, wearing a robe she had owned since college. "You are up early," she mumbled. "You okay? I will be," Tiana answered. Jada sat across from her, studying her face. "So what is step one now?" "Divorce court. Small claims, emotional destruction." Tiana managed a faint smile. "Step one is breakfast," she said. "Then I need to talk to my manager. And after that, I need to make sure every document Malik tries to hide is accounted for." "You mean bank records?" "Bank records, receipts, emails," Tiana said. "Anything that shows I paid for things he pretends he paid for. Tuition, rent, car repairs, those exam prep classes. Malik may be a new doctor, but he has the financial sense of a houseplant. I covered everything." Jada shook her head. "Girl, he really used you like an oxygen tank." Tiana stood, gathered her purse, and smoothed her cardigan. Not anymore. At the cafe where she worked, the morning rush hit like a wave. Customers lined up, impatient and half awake, tapping phones and muttering orders too fast to understand. The smell of espresso, steamed milk, and fresh pastries filled the space. It was loud, familiar, safe. Tiana moved behind the counter with the precision of someone who had muscle memory in her bones. She liked the rhythm of the cafe. It never judged her, never belittled her. It simply needed her hands and her focus. Her manager, Mr. Hawkins, emerged from the back. He was a wiry older man with a permanent frown that was more concentration than displeasure. "You are early," he said. "Needed something to do with my brain," she replied. He gave her a long, assessing look. "You are distracted," he said. "What happened? Did something go wrong at the graduation?" Tiana took a breath. "Yes, but I will fix it. If you need days off—" "I need hours, not sympathy," she said gently. "Working helps me think." He nodded. He respected her too much to pry. As she pulled shots of espresso and warmed croissants, her mind built a steady plan. She thought of the envelopes she had saved with rent receipts, the folder of email confirmations from the bursar office, the old message threads where Malik had promised to pay her back someday when things were better. She had not realized until last night how much evidence she had kept, not out of suspicion, but because she handled everything. She was the organizer, the planner, the one who made their life run. Malik had only needed to show up and study. A wave of anger rolled through her, not hot and screaming, but deep and quiet. A slow burning coal. 5 years of support. 5 years of exhaustion. 5 years of believing in a future that he claimed alone the moment he received it. When the morning rush ended, Tiana stepped into the back hallway and opened her phone. A new text blinked on the screen. "Unknown number. We need to talk, now." It was Malik. Tiana stared at the message. She felt nothing. Not a tremor, not a sting. She typed back, "We will speak through attorneys." He replied instantly, "Do not play this game, Tiana. You are dragging this out for no reason. Sign the papers. Let us move on like adults." Tiana exhaled slowly, steadying her hands. "I will not sign your terms. You may wait for mine." Malik's response came after a long pause. "You are making a mistake. You think you can win this? Just because you worked a few jobs does not mean you get a cut of my career. That is not how this works." Tiana felt her jaw tighten. "You will learn how this works very soon." She locked her phone and slipped it into her pocket. She did not owe him another sentence. Later that afternoon, she met Attorney Langford in his office. The space was quiet, warmly lit, and smelled faintly of peppermint oil. Diplomas lined the wall in neat oak frames. Attorney Langford was a tall man in his early 50s with silver temples and a measured way of speaking. "Miss Brooks," he said, gesturing for her to sit. "I want to congratulate you. You came prepared. Most clients in your position arrive with nothing but heartbreak and chaos. You came with a timeline, receipts, and annotated financial breakdowns. Truly impressive." "I had to manage everything," she said simply. He nodded. "Then let us turn that management into leverage." He slid a folder across the desk. Inside was the full petition with her counterclaims. "As discussed," he said, "we are requesting reimbursement for your contributions, recognition of educational investment, and temporary support until the settlement is complete. Given Mr. Carter's new income level, the court will take this seriously. Your evidence strongly supports your case." Tiana turned through the pages. Each line item was a year of her life: a bag of groceries, a rent payment, a textbook she could not afford but bought anyway, hours she had never been paid for, converted into numbers and attached to dates. It was strange seeing her entire sacrifice written in legal ink, but also validating. Langford steepled his fingers. "I will send the formal notice today. He will not be able to avoid it." Tiana closed the folder gently. "Good." Langford paused. "Do you have somewhere safe to stay? Someone supportive?" "My friend," she said. "Jada. I am fine." He nodded. "I ask only because these cases can get tense, especially when the spouse did not expect resistance." Tiana gave a short, humorless laugh. "He expected me to cry." Langford smiled faintly. "Then he never understood you." "No," Tiana said quietly. "He did not." By evening, Malik had been served. Tiana received confirmation at 6:42 p.m. Minutes later, her phone rang again. This time she let it ring. She pulled her hand back and simply watched the phone vibrate on the table. Jada peeked in from the kitchen. "That him?" "Yes." "You going to answer it?" "No." Jada nodded approvingly. Let him scream into the void for once. 30 minutes later, a different number called, then a third, then a fourth. Malik was borrowing phones now. Tiana muted every one of them, because for the first time in their entire relationship, Malik Carter needed her attention, and she did not owe him any. Instead, she opened her laptop. There, on a blank document, she began typing something she had never dared say out loud. Things Tiana wants for her future. The list began small. Rest, a place that is mine, a job that grows me, school, maybe, peace. Then it grew. An apartment with sunlight, a savings account with my name only, a life that does not revolve around someone else's dreams, a future built for me, not through me. Her hand stilled over the keyboard, then she wrote the final line. A life where no one calls my sacrifices charity. She pressed save. Tomorrow, the real fight would begin. Tomorrow, Malik would learn what it meant to underestimate a woman who had held up his entire world with tired hands and still found strength left to rebuild her own. But tonight, Tiana allowed herself one simple truth. She had already won the moment she walked away. The next morning, clouds hung low over the city, heavy and swollen like they were waiting for a signal to break. Tiana stood at the bus stop, collar pulled tight against the wind, her tote bag filled with folders, flash drives, and two neatly organized binders. She was going to war armed with paper. Her phone buzzed, not with another call from Malik this time, but with an alert from her email. Subject: Notice of response required. From Carter and Rowland, LLP, Malik newly hired legal team. Tiana opened it. Miss Brooks, we represent Dr. Malik Carter. Please provide available dates for mediation, as our client disputes your claims and sees no legal basis for the financial demands outlined in the petition. Tiana exhaled through her nose, steady. A doctor, she thought, already flexing his new title like a shield. She typed back with surgical calm. Please direct all communication to my attorney. Future emails to me personally will not be read. She hit send before giving herself time to rehearse or second guess. Then she boarded the bus, shoulders squared. If Malik wanted to play professional, she would show him what professionalism looked like. Attorney Langford was already waiting when she arrived. He gestured toward the conference table. He has retained counsel. That means he is taking this seriously now. Tiana set down her tote bag. Good. He should. Langford opened a file. His legal team sent a preliminary rebuttal. Predictable denial. They claimed you supported him voluntarily and without expectation of repayment. They argue that his degree is separate property and that your contributions were insignificant to its completion. Tiana blinked slowly. Insignificant. Langford nodded. This is standard posturing. They want to intimidate you. Does it work on judges? Not on any judge I know, he said with a dry smile. Especially not when the evidence shows that without your financial support, he would not have finished medical school at all. Tiana reached into her tote bag and placed two binders onto the table. Then I have more evidence. Langford raised an eyebrow. More bank statements. I highlighted every direct payment I made toward his tuition, rent, groceries, and utilities. And here, she tapped the second binder, are printouts of our text messages, where he promised to repay me for the prep courses and exams. Langford leaned back, genuinely impressed. Miss Brooks, this is thorough. I want him to stop pretending I imagined my own sacrifice. Langford gave a slow nod. Then we will make sure he does. Meanwhile, miles away, Malik sat in his newly leased condo. Antiseptic white walls, modern furniture, and expensive lighting he could barely afford. His phone buzzed nonstop. Group chats from his classmates, text messages from people who had attended his graduation cookout. Rumors were spreading at frightening speed. He really left her the day after she paid all those bills. I heard she took care of him for years. Bro, she is suing you. That looks bad PR for a new doctor. Malik threw his phone onto the counter and paced. He had expected tears, begging, a breakdown, but this cold, calculated legal retaliation. He had not prepared for this version of Tiana. She had always been soft, predictable, accommodating, but now she was ice with intentions. His phone buzzed again, this time from Mom. He groaned and answered. Boy, what is this I am hearing? She asked sharply. You left that girl after everything she did for you. She worked 2 jobs to keep you afloat, and you sent her divorce papers. Malik clenched his jaw. Mom, you do not know the full story. She snorted. I know the story of a man raised right not acting like this. He ended the call without responding, his face burning hot with humiliation. He looked down at his phone. Another notification. This one from Twitter. Someone from the graduation had posted, Imagine being the woman who supported her man through med school, only for him to drop her the moment he got the diploma. Could not be me. 20,000 likes. Malik nearly slammed his fist through the counter. This was out of control. He needed to regain the narrative. Back in Langford office, Tiana looked out the window as rain finally began to fall. Have they responded to our settlement terms? She asked. Langford checked his inbox. Not yet. But I expect a counteroffer soon, especially after today. Why today? Langford turned his monitor so she could see. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. People online were already talking about Malik, without using names, but clearly hinting at him. Langford said, I did not leak anything, but word travels, and public opinion is swinging heavily in your favor. Tiana watched the notifications roll across the screen. She was becoming a symbol of the woman who held a man up only to be discarded, of the person who finally fought back. She did not ask for that, but she would use it. Langford folded his hands. Miss Brooks, the more public pressure he feels, the more likely he is to settle quickly and generously. Tiana looked down at her hands. What if he refuses? Langford smiled. Then we go to court. And based on what I have seen, we win. At Jada Place that evening, Tiana stood at the stove stirring pasta, while Jada leaned on the counter scrolling her phone. Girl, Jada said, eyes wide, your situation is trending. Not by name, but everybody is talking about the man who dumped his med school girl. Tiana shook her head. I do not want to be a meme. You are not a meme. You are a movement, Jada said proudly. And honestly, good. Men like Malik do this stuff thinking nobody ever checks them. Tiana sighed. I do not want revenge. I want justice. Jada snorted. Honey, sometimes they are the same thing wearing different heels. The pot boiled. Tiana turned off the stove. Do you think he will actually settle? Absolutely. He is arrogant, not stupid. Bad press follows doctors like smoke. He cannot afford to look like the villain. And he is absolutely the villain. Tiana did not argue. Later that night, alone in her room, Tiana opened her laptop again. She reread the settlement request. It was more than she ever dreamed of asking for 2 days ago. But it was exactly what she deserved. She clicked save and closed the computer. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk, please. I do not like how this looks. You are making me look bad. Tiana typed one sentence back. You did that yourself. She put the phone down and turned off the light. Tomorrow, the negotiation would begin. And Malik was about to learn something he had never bothered to understand. A woman who carried you through the fire does not stay quiet when you push her back into it. She learns to burn. Tiana arrived early. The mediation building was modern, quiet, and filled with the strange hum of artificial calm that tried its best to disguise the tension of people coming to end marriages, financial ties, and illusions. She took a seat in the waiting area, her folder neatly closed in her lap. She did not fidget. She did not tremble. She was steel now, forged by 5 years of sacrifice and one night of betrayal. The elevator doors dinged. Malik stepped out. He was dressed in an expensive suit that somehow made him look smaller, not larger. The lines on his forehead were deeper, his jaw tighter. His mother, Laverne, was not far behind, wearing a gray blouse and carrying a purse that looked like she had bought it to impress someone. They approached the reception area. Malik saw her, stopped. Tiana lifted her chin 1 inch. That was enough to make him swallow. The mediator stepped forward politely. "Mr. Carter, Ms. Brooks, you may follow me inside." Tiana stood. She did not look at Malik. She walked past him as if he were a stranger in line at a grocery store. Inside the mediation room, Attorney Langford sat ready, posture calm, expression unreadable. Malik's attorney, a tall man with slicked back hair and a voice as smooth as his suit, gave a polite nod. Laverne sat beside Malik, already glaring at Tiana like this entire meeting was somehow her fault. The mediator began. "We are here to attempt a fair settlement regarding Ms. Brooks' petition. All parties have received the documents?" Malik's attorney cleared his throat. "Yes, and we would like to open by saying the financial expectations presented by Ms. Brooks are unusually high for an unmarried partnership." Langford leaned forward. Unmarried partnership? Ms. Brooks was financially responsible for nearly every dollar of Mr. Carter's living expenses and educational journey. She has documented proof of providing over $287,000 in direct payments, not counting labor, child care of his siblings, and indirect support. The request is not unusually high, it is unusually justified. Malik's attorney opened his mouth, but Malik himself leaned toward the microphone. "Tiana, why are you doing this?" Tiana blinked once. "Why?" Malik's voice cracked a little. "We were good once. We loved each other. You know I didn't mean to." She held up a hand gently. "Malik, please, do not rewrite history in real time. I am not here to reminisce. I am here to recover what I lost." Laverne scoffed loudly. "Young lady, you act like you're the only woman who ever supported a man through school. You should be proud of him. Instead, you're trying to tear him down because he outgrew you." Langford snapped his head toward Laverne. "Ma'am, if you continue, we will formally request your removal from the room." Laverne's eyebrows shot up. She sputtered. "I have every right to." "No," Langford said calmly. "You have every opinion. That is not the same thing." Tiana almost smiled. Almost. The financial breakdown. The mediator asked Tiana to restate her opening position. She spoke clearly. "I am seeking reimbursement for 75% of the total financial support I provided, as well as compensation for lost opportunities and damages resulting from sudden, unjustified abandonment. The request totals $215,400. Malik's attorney nearly choked. "That is outrageous." Langford slid a document forward. "Outlined by receipts, screenshots, payment logs, and transactions. You are welcome to review them." Malik rubbed his forehead. "Tiana, come on. You know I can't afford that right now." She tilted her head. "So I should simply accept the fact that I emptied myself for 5 years and you walked away with a medical degree and no accountability?" Malik's voice rose. "Why are you acting like I owe you my whole life?" "You do not owe me your life, Malik," Tiana said softly. "You just owe me the years of mine that you used up." The room went silent. Even the mediator exhaled slowly, impressed. Malik tries to flip the script. He leaned forward, trying to regain control. "You know," he said carefully, "this looks bad for both of us, especially with people talking online. You could ease up a little. We can settle privately. No paperwork, no statements. I can send you some money over time." Tiana narrowed her eyes. "You want secrecy. That means you are worried. Why?" He stiffened. His attorney tensed. Tiana continued. "Is it the residency program? The hospital board? They do not like medical ethics concerns, do they? Malik swallowed. You're threatening my career. No, she corrected. I am protecting my future, and yours depends on how you act today. Laverne hissed under her breath. She's blackmailing you. Langford spoke calmly. No, she is negotiating. The breaking point, Malik slammed his palm onto the table. Fine, you want money? I'll give you money, but not that much. I worked hard too. You act like I sat around doing nothing. Tiana finally snapped. You did sit around doing nothing. I worked 2 jobs while you studied. I paid for your MCAT courses. I fed you when you had nothing. I fixed your car, covered your rent, and juggled everything while you slept and partied and… She shut her mouth abruptly. The room went still. Her hands were trembling from holding back the dam of everything she had swallowed for years. Langford put a steadying hand near her arm, not touching, just grounding. When she spoke again, her voice was lower, steadier. I am not asking you to pay for my love. That part was free. I am asking you to pay for what you took. Malik sat back like someone had punched him in the ribs. The counteroffer Malik's attorney whispered to him for several minutes. Finally, he lifted his head. We propose a settlement of $70,000, paid over 4 years. Langford didn't even blink. Rejected. 80,000. Rejected. 100,000. Rejected. Malik pinched the bridge of his nose. Tiana, please. I don't have that kind of… Langford slid a paper across the table. Then we proceed to court, and we will ask for the full amount, plus punitive damages. Given the text messages we have on record, and your abrupt termination of the relationship immediately upon receiving your degree, a judge will likely approve it. The mediator folded her hands. Mr. Carter, your legal risk is high. Most judges frown upon situations involving financial exploitation within domestic partnerships. An out-of-court settlement is strongly advised. Malik looked trapped. Laverne whispered harshly. Just give her what she wants. You would not even be a doctor without her. Malik snapped back at her. You told me to leave her. The whole room froze. Tiana inhaled sharply. Laverne turned red. I only meant… Peacefully, Tiana said. You both made the decision. I am simply making mine. The final offer, Malik's attorney leaned forward. Ms. Brooks, what is the absolute minimum you will accept? Tiana answered without hesitation. 170,000. Malik choked. That will ruin me. No, Tiana said. That will balance us. Silence. Negotiation whispers. A heavy sigh. Finally, Malik's attorney said, We accept. Malik looked like he had been drained from the inside. He couldn't look at her. He couldn't look at his mother. He looked at the table, jaw clenched, the reality of consequences settling onto his shoulders for the first time in his entire life. The mediator prepared the paperwork. Langford handed Tiana a pen. She signed calmly. Malik signed last, hand shaking so visibly the mediator had to turn away politely. As they were preparing to leave, Malik stood slowly. Tiana, he said quietly. His voice cracked. Was I really that bad to you? She looked him in the eyes, for the first time since graduation day. You were worse, she said gently. But I am finally done paying for it. Malik blinked hard, like her words hurt more than the settlement. Maybe they did, because for the first time in his life, the mirror he had avoided was now speaking back. Tiana walked past him, head high. Langford held the door. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky was clearing. She stepped through the doorway into the brightness. Her life, finally hers again. A new chapter beginning, unshared, unburdened, unbroken.